Hi everyone, welcome to Tom's Manshed. Right, today's review is on these. I've got two of these. They are moisture absorbing bags, if you will, to put in your car or anywhere else you like to help stop condensation forming on the windscreen. It's called a desiccant. There's various forms of desiccant, which is anything that absorbs moisture. The most popular is this granulated desiccant beads. Now, like I say, I've got two of these. I'll be showing you exactly how they work. First of all, I'll show you the ones I got on Amazon and how they've vastly, in a couple of days, increased in price. So I'll give you some pointers here to what to look out for. So let's have a look at them on Amazon now. Right, now I'm just doing the editing, so I'm squeezing this bit in here. This is recorded a while after what you just said. The reason being, I've done loads and loads of tests in the car, day after day after day, measuring the humidity inside the car and outside, showing you the condensation it's absorbed or that it hasn't absorbed. And along with the rest of this video, this first bit, where I got it from Amazon, what silica gel is, what sort of desiccant this uses, all that, I realised, as always, it was going to be an extremely long one, but even extremely long for me, probably over an hour. So I'm splitting it into two bits. This first part is going to be, well, not the unboxing, because I talked about the package to begin with, but showing you, like I said, the bags themselves, where I got them and how much I got them for on Amazon and what to look out for on Amazon, how silica gel works, showing you the indicator colours, stuff like that, showing you how much it absorbs over a period of time. But all the stuff for the car, and that's what I got them for, to stop the condensation in the car, all the measurement of that, which takes up quite a while because I do it over about 5 consecutive days, starting from bone dry and so on and so on. So that was taking up quite a long time. So that is all going to be in part 2. So I'll try and upload them very quickly after each other, hopefully a day or two after each other. Maybe I'll upload them both together, but if part 2 isn't online yet, it will be very, very soon. So part 1 only this, and as always, use the timeline below and I'll segment everything into certain bits and you can just skip to the bit you want. But the relevant bit for using it in the car, showing you how good it is at killing the condensation in the car, which is what I got them for, will be coming in part 2. Right, let's get back to where we were. Right, so if you just typed in something like 1 kilogram desiccant bag, because that's what these are, they're about 1 kilogram. I wouldn't really recommend anything less than that. But you can see there's all these little tiny ones. They're the sort of things you get in electrical appliances, like stuffed in the bag just to absorb it. But it's not enough to absorb a lot of moisture from a larger area. So if you go down, you can buy these beads by, the bucket full, if you will, if you want. But there are some bargains to be had when you look. Now, this one here, as you'll see on the ones I'm using, this indicator thing turns a different colour when they've absorbed all the moisture and they're ready for drying out again. Because once they've absorbed all the moisture, you can dry them out. I'll go into that in a second and get them dry again, ready for next use. Now this one, as you see, turns, that's blue and it turns pink. And you think, oh, looks about 1 kilogram that. £9, but when we click on it, it's £9. It turns pink there, which is better than the one I've got, which turns from like green to yellow, yellow to green. The blue to pink is a much more obvious colour change. But if you look down here, capacity 300 grams. That's only 1/3 of a kilogram for like £9, so that'd make it like £27 for 1 kilogram. So be very careful. Don't just look at the price, look at the amount you get as well. Now, these are the ones I will be showing you in this test, and I'll show you how much I got them for. Ignore this price for now. This is what they are now. Seal products, large dry air, blah, 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 blah. As usual, about the same sort of, everything gets about the same 50-60% stars. I've used this stuff many, many times, so I know about it. Shows you on here, lying there, it says no need for non-slip pads because they do tend to slide along your dashboard when you're going around corners. I shall show you that. It's not that great, the non-stick on this, but that doesn't worry me. And there it shows you a video there of him putting it on the rear screen of his car, just on the cloth side, and obviously it just slips down. I'll show you this in real life on mine as well. I've not tried this bit yet, but we'll try it. And then they're like little rubber nodules, and it shows you it sticking to that. So that's that. Now if you look here, these $8.50 plus $2.50 delivery, so $8.50, $9.50, $10.50, 11 quid. So that would have cost me like 22 quid for the two. If we click here, view order, look how much it cost me. There was £6.25 each, including postage. There was no extra postage. The grand total for 2 bags, 2 kilograms, was $12.50. That's what they're wanting from singularly now. So you've really got to look out and get things at the right time. So yeah, I got a bargain there. Two for $12.50, including delivery. So as I looked down, that's that one I've just shown you. There, that's what I came across. 2 large ones. Seal products, the same as mine. These have got sort of little handles on them. Other than that, they look exactly the same. So that is actually good. It's a 2 large, 1 kilogram. Yeah, the 1 kilograms. Again, large, capable of 800 grams or so. And it says 2. So I'm assuming it's, it's the 800 grams each. You'd be best double checking, but that's from the same place I got mine, AKM Sport, and that's £10.50. So, yeah, so check them all out, and there are bargains to be had, but always check you're getting 1 kilogram. So, yeah, I think 2 1 kilogram bags is about right for a car that particularly moistens up like mine. Now, if you don't know, I'll go into probably a bit more detail on what silica gel desiccant is in this video up here, which is on these 2 packs. Now these again were great value. Can't remember how much they were. Like I said, check out the video above. And these are great. They're the same white or clear silica gel granules inside, and it comes with a little dryer. And you just put that on there like that. And once these have done all absorption, you put that on, flick the switch, it blows warm air through it, and they're dried out. You even get this thing, which is like a shoe dryer. You can put damp shoes over there and it'll blow warm air. And that has proved fantastic. I use them on the bedroom windowsill to stop any damp in there. Now, the way a lot of these work, these aren't great, the indicator patches on these. When they've absorbed all they're going to absorb, these turn a different colour. Now, you can see this is sort of stained already. I just tried this last night, just wetting it with my finger. And it has gone. It sort of stained it. It goes from, where is it? Yellow dot turns green, recharge. When the yellow dot turns green. So it goes from yellow to green, which isn't easy to tell the difference of. If you look at that, that's after wetting it with my finger. It's now thoroughly dry and it's already sort of like ruined it, really. That's the one I haven't touched. So that goes green. It goes more that sort of pale blue, if you ask me, when its thing, but you can see it's already sort of stuck. So that's like a cardboard disc. The better ones are the ones that have a separate little patch, which aren't these flexible ones, unfortunately. And I can't say how the pink and blue ones go, whether they sort of tend to stick or not, I don't know. But if they were the same price, I'd go for a pink-blue one instead of a yellow-green one. But there are some desiccant beads which change colour themselves when they get moist. And on this, you'll see on it, it says dry is yellow, the orange colour, wet is green. So when they are like the orangey yellow colour, they're still dry and they're still absorbing stuff. And when it's when they turn green, you know this is filled up. And I've written on the base the difference in weight. The 465 grams dry, 525 grams wet. So they absorb a full 65, 75, 85, 95, 35, 45, 55, 60 grams in weight, which I'll show you in that video, and I'll be showing you in this as well, is quite a lot of water. Now, anything that uses these indicator beads in a little window doesn't use them for their entire inside there. I've read a couple of reviews on these, and people have said, oh, it's only using the cheap clear or white ones, not the ones that turn colour, so it's not going to absorb the same amount. Yes, it does. The ones that are white or clear just absorb moisture the same. They just don't turn a different colour when they're wet. Now, if you're enclosing it in a bag like that, it's pointless filling it with the more expensive orange ones because you're not going to see them. You might as well just put a separate pocket just with the orange ones, or an indicator patch like that, to tell you that it's ready for recharging. Or, like I say, do it like I do most of the time, or I will with these. Do it with the weight. I've weighed these, and I'll show you shortly what they weigh totally dry. And I've also I will weigh them. I've not actually yet done the test. I'm halfway through this video. I will weigh them when they have fully absorbed all the moisture they're going to absorb, which could be over a few days. So that's the best way to do it. If you're feeling it, oh yeah, it feels a bit heavier, that, start drying it out. You don't have to wait till it's fully absorbed and won't absorb any more. You can start drying them out at any time. Now, it says on the book here, well, first of all, this is the instructions you get with it. I'll quickly read it for you. I usually hold things like this up to the camera and freeze frame it, but it's not a lot to read. But it'll just say, do not remove the gel or carbon from the inner sac. It's ready to use straight away. Place it where there is moisture. It will start to work. The indicator. You will notice there is a large round indicator in the centre. The dot that will change colour as the rest of the gel becomes moist. The dot will turn pink, then dark green. So it's wrong to begin with these. It's yellow and green. As the gel becomes moist, before regenerating, remove the indicator card before starting to recharge. You will need to place it in a warm place, like a radiator, for a few minutes to change back. Do not put the indicator in a microwave, as the temperature will damage it. So yeah, my recommendation is, if you can, dry them on that behind me on a oil-filled radiator slowly overnight, or even longer. If you've got a radiator in the house, or a very low temperature oven. They do say some of them put them in the microwave for 6 minutes. If you are going to use the microwave, and I have used the microwave on, I've got a full pack of these, as you can see, some behind me, I'll be showing you in a minute, of the orange ones that I use in my 3D printer behind and stuff. And I do dry them in the microwave in a glass bowl bit by bit, but I only do it on 1% up from defrost. One click up from defrost, about 30% power. And then just for about 3 or 4 minutes, it generates tons and tons of steam because it's getting rid of the moisture. You open the microwave up and its steam bellows out, and you've got to wipe all the inside because the water is in there, and you don't want it dripping straight back in it. then put it back and doing it a bit more each time until they become orange. If you zap it round on full blast, it gets so hot and things start pinging and ponging and it's absorbing the moisture again, and they can bake really, really hard and just, it ruins them basically. So be very a gentle sort of heat is better. If you are going to use a microwave, be very, very careful. Don't bung it in and walk away. Keep by it. Every minute or so, open it up, get rid of some of that steam, wipe it down, and keep it on a low power. And weigh them. Once you know what they are dry, just keep doing that until they're that same weight, and then you'll know it's fully absorbed. So that's that. But yeah, these they're not brilliant. They're certainly not as good as these. These work perfect. When that is full, they are green. Once you've dried it an hour and a half on that hot air blower through it, they've gone back orange again, and it's down to that weight. So I'll just show you that now on these. These are bone dry now, as you can see, and they are really, really orange. If I get some water now, I'll just pour a bit in here. Immediately that bit I've poured them on, can you see they're going, not green these, I think they go sort of like a brown. You can hear them popping, it's like that. What was that stuff you used to put on your tongue, and it like weird sort of like popping stuff. Obviously don't do that with these. You can see these already, just with that moisture, have gone a lot darker. If I put a bit more in, but it's amazing how much they sup up. You know, I've poured sort of like I say liquid water in there now. There's no actual liquid running around the bottom of this glass. It's all just been absorbed. Yeah, can't see any water sloshing around. But you can see now the difference in colour between them. So they go like a dark colour when they need drying out. So when they do that, just put them somewhere there. So that's your bags, that's your desiccant, these previous ones. Like I said, these are great for like little cupboards on top of a windowsill, but obviously not in the car because they'd be... You could use them in the car, but only when it's parked. You'd have to put them in the glove box or somewhere. They're a bit big for the door pockets once you're moving. So you're better with something like these. Like I said, that label just goes in like a flexible thing there. I might make some sort of like extra little gauze pocket and put some of them orange beads in it. Now, like I said, to stop it moving around your dash, but if they didn't grip, and I can't see them gripping that well because they're not that sticky, you could use one of them non-stick pads. I'll show you that when I'm putting them in the car. You can get them cheap enough, and they stick really, really well. They're just like a rubber mesh. Now, in here, it's double sealed. When I got these, even both thoroughly dried out, one had about 940 grams in it. The other had about 980 grams in it. So I just took a tiny pinchful out of one and put it in the other. Got them down to 966 grams exactly each. But you're going to get round about a kilogram in each one. And it's velcroed over here at the top with one layer of velcro. And then there's another velcro inside. Like that. And there's the crystals inside. And as you can see, crystals, granules or whatever. I'll show you, but they're like a white a white sort of clear. Looks a bit like sugar. They get everywhere, so be very careful with these. If you wanted to dry them in a glass bowl, you know, that's great. It doesn't put any moisture back into the fabric then. That's how I dry mine for the machine behind me. But they do tend to bounce all over the place. So that's, like I say, sealed there. Even just with that one seal, they're not going to go anywhere. You know, there's nothing coming out. And then you've got the extra seal over the top. So quite good. You're not going to spill any of that out in the car unless you tear this. This feels reasonably soft. It's not that strong, so be very careful in the car. Snag it on anything sharp. You'd have to stitch it up if you did that. But it's obviously got to be porous enough to let the moisture through. So there are your two bags, and like I said, their weight is 1 kilogram, and 2 of them is what I'd advise. If you've got a really, really, really damp car that moistures up, maybe one for the back, on the rear parcel shelf for the rear windscreen, I don't know. But my car it's used a heck of a lot less than most people's car. I do very, very few miles in it. I only use it a couple of times a week for going to shops and family and friends and things. So most of the time it's up the drive, being used as a giant battery pack, powering the very shed I'm in now. At the moment, the heater behind me, my PC, my light, and when I'm watching TV behind me, my TV and my printer are all running off the car, which I can charge up at night for 7p per kilowatt hour on the tariff I'm on. And that a full battery on the car will run the shed for 2 or 3 days in winter. No problem at all. So that's the main thing I use the car for. So it does tend to stay in one spot up the drive without the heater going. Hence I will get more moisture than normal. But it does moisture up more than most cars. There's quite a few postings on the MG forums. So as I explained earlier, all the actual real world stuff in the car showing you does it help or not with condensation itself is coming in part 2. But for now, in this part 1, I want to show you how much water it can actually absorb and how much in grams a certain amount of water is. Now, these bags, they're currently doing a test in that red box behind. I'll be explaining that shortly. But the bags themselves are roughly 1 kilogram of silica gel inside. Now, it's supposed to absorb up to 40% of its own weight. So, absolute maximum absorption, it's not going to absorb any more, that would weigh 1.4 kilograms. In real world, it reckons it's more like 20%. So it'll absorb up to 20%. So that's up to, say, 1,200 grams. Now, what I've done earlier on today, I held one of the bags because the maximum I got it to after the car, and that will be explained in part 1, but nowhere near the 20% absorption, because I've only been doing it over a few days. Eventually, if I left it in there for weeks, it would get up to its full capacity. So to speed things up, I held it this morning in front of a boiling kettle, in front of all the steam, to try and get it as absorbed as I could. I could have dunked it underwater, but that would just stick all the silica gel beads together. It's not the way to do it. It'd just be a solid mass, and you'd have to wring it out and wait for it to stop doing it. It's to absorb moisture. Moisture is steam, so I tried it in the steam, and I got it up to 1085 grams. So that's the maximum I could get it up to. I could have held it in longer and it had gone a bit more, but I got it up to 1085 grams. Now, the lowest I've got it, when it's been absolutely dried thoroughly, and again, I'll be showing you that shortly when we do the microwave drying of it, is 941 grams. So if we subtract 941 from 1085, we get 144 grams. So how much water is actually 144 grams. So like I said, that was with one bag after holding it in the steam and then thoroughly drying it in the mic. 144 grams. With the two bags, you've got double that, so that would be 288 grams. So let's see what capacity I've got it to absorb, and it won't even be at its maximum yet. Let's see how much 288 grams is in water. Right, so as I just said, 1085 is the heaviest I've been able to get it after holding it in the steam, and 940 is the lightest after thoroughly drying in the microwave. So that's 145 grams. So let's see how much 145 grams is. So we'll put that on there, and then we'll click that. So it's starting off from 0. I'll pour some water in till we get to 144 grams. Whoops. 147. Take a bit out. Oh, bang on. So that is 144 grams. That's what one bag has absorbed. So let's see if that's what it actually says on the this measuring jug. Just switch back to normal camera. So grams, let's have a look. So that's the grams setting there, and hold it level. What does it say? Well, that says 120, doesn't it? Just below 120. We'll call it that. Call it, say, 120 absorbed by one bag. So let's get it up to 240. So there you are. That's what two bags would have absorbed so far, and that's not full. 1085 as opposed to in a percentage of a kilogram, it's just about 10% that, isn't it? From sort of like 940 to 1085 is about sort of like 10% it's absorbed. If my calculations are right, so it should easily be able to absorb a bit more than that. Like I say, I'm going to keep it in my car for a few weeks, and then I'm going to put it in the description with a date on it on how much it did absorb in real life over a big long term. But obviously I don't want to wait weeks and weeks and weeks to complete this video. But yeah, all that moisture just by the two bags, and it's not even full yet. So yeah, quite impressive, really. Right, let's have a look at drying it out now. Drying the pads out once you've used them in the microwave. Now, like I said, the easiest way to do it is on a radiator like behind me.
Can you say it again?
Alexa, off. What did I say that? I didn't even say the A word. As I was saying, the easiest way to dry it is on a radiator. So if you've got a central heating system with pretty hot radiators, you could place them there. Obviously the moisture is going to come into the room, but it's only a tiny amount, and if it's a normal dry room it's not going to make any difference. But it does take quite a while. From a fully absorbed pad, it could take quite a few days. So the quickest way is with the microwave. So let's have a look at it now with the microwave. And as you'll see, I'm starting it off just after holding it in the steam from a kettle to try and get it to absorb as much as possible. You'll see that. You'll see the badge has changed to its green colour from the yellow. And then we bung it in the microwave. Now the thing to be careful of on here, and I can't emphasize it enough, is to just take things pretty gentle. Try the defrost setting, or one up from the defrost setting like I'm using. It's only a tiny little microwave, mine. If you want to see a review on it, click up here. It's just a bog standard one. It serves a single person perfectly, but it's not got a digital timer and it's not a big capacity. If it was a bigger one, it'd be better, because you get the steam, disperse the steam a bit better. So as you'll see, I'm just using it on one up from defrost, and the timer, I'm doing it in sort of like 5-minute segments. Always better, always keep going back. If you haven't done it enough, you can always do it a bit more. But if you do too much, too quick, it'll ruin the silica gel beads. They end up going rock hard, sticking together, crumbling sometimes. And once that's happened, they've lost their effectiveness. So take it easy and take it out. Let the steam come out. Wipe the inside of the microwave with a paper towel. So when I dry out the orange indicator style silica gel I showed you earlier in this video, the type I use in the 3D printer behind, I dry it out. I just pour it out of them white containers into a glass bowl, and it's quite a sort of a wide diameter glass bowl. Bung that in microwave and do it now. I get tons and tons and tons of steam off that. When I open the door, it's really steamy, and you can put your hands in the silica gel and sort of move it around a bit to disperse it all. You can't do that obviously when they're in the bags, and the fabric of the bag will absorb some of the steam. Anyway, all will become apparent when we're at the microwave, so let's go and do that now. Okay, so we've had this bag now, as just explained, held in steam from a kettle for about 5 minutes, trying to get it to absorb as much as possible. You can see it has changed colour. It's gone from the yellow to a more greeny blue colour, and from brand new and dry, it was 970 grams. So if we put it on now, it's 1084. Make sure that's placed. Yep, 1084. So that's what? 970 to 1084. 114 grams it's absorbed. Okay, so this is the first time I've done it with this particular bag. So I'm just going to put it on one setting above defrost, and I'm just going to do it for about 3 minutes. So like I said, always sort of monitor it. You can walk away for 3 minutes, but don't just put it on full power and half an hour or anything like that, because it could bake silica gel beads inside. You can hear it's just clunked in now, the microwave. That's how these settings work. On, off, certain periods. So it's in an on period now. You'll hear a clunk in a minute with it going off. He says. Yeah, that's it. It's on now. Just heard it come on. Okay, that's just dinged. So, not much steam, in fact no steam at all, which is what I was expecting, more steam, and it feels dry. It still feels granulated to touch, so I don't want to overdo it though. So I'm gonna maybe just put it up to 500 watts, and no, I'm going to keep it low on 400 watts, but do it for a longer period. So I'm going to do it for about 6 minutes.
So I'll turn camera off and come back after 6 minutes.
Okay, so as you saw there, from absolutely cold, putting it in, 3 minutes on sort of defrost or one above, and it still feels quite cold. You think, oh, it's going to need a lot longer, but that's because it's starting from scratch and it's heating it up from cold. So I was tempted to turn the heat up, but I thought, no, I'll leave it on same and just increase the time. So increase this time to about 6 or 8 minutes or whatever. So let's get straight back and see how it does after sort of like double the initial time.
Right, it's been in nearly the 6 minutes now. It's just about to come up to the to ping at the end of it. So we'll see how this feels. Again, this is on the 400 watts. That's one up from defrost. Let's see, after 6 minutes. Definitely a bit more steam came out. It wasn't very visible, but it's there. Don't know whether you can see that sort of steaming. But that is pretty hot. That is, wow, I can hardly hold that. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is wipe out any moisture that's in there. And basically it's just a matter of doing this. The moisture will collect on the top. When you do the orange beads, as I probably mentioned, and I do it in a glass bowl, there is tons of steam comes out of here. But I'm going to put that back in. And I'm going to drop the power down, because that was really, really hot, to 300 watts, the defrost. That's the defrost setting. And again, I'm going to give it another, we'll give it 8 minutes, because it's down a power now on defrost. So we'll come back in 8 minutes and see what it feels like. Might even come back after about 4 just to make sure it's not getting really, really hot. So we're about halfway through, we've got 4 minutes to go. Let's give it a check. And yeah, I can see steam went, again, that is red hot. But hopefully you can see the steam now coming off it. I can with my naked eye, I don't know whether the camera's picking it up. I think it's a black sleeve, I don't know. But yeah, that is hardly pick upable, but no hotter than, yeah, it is a bit hotter, so it just shows you defrost is enough.
So yeah, we've now had about a total of sort of 13, 14, 15 minutes. And you can see the steam is really starting to pour off now. Now you will notice me wiping the microwave down after each session, but along as you look at it, the top inside door, you'll see loads of moisture. I can see it now in the video. I didn't see it when I was doing it because I'm stood way above there. So that's one bit I didn't wipe off. But each time you do it, try and get all the inside of the microwave dry, otherwise it might drip moisture back into it. So I'm not going to show you every single session I've filmed. I filmed about every sort of like 4 to 8 minutes, but we'll just show you one more and then skip right to the end where we can try and get it as dry as we can.
I'll just wait for it to ping. Right, so it's had what, probably about in total sort of 10 minutes. We have got a fair amount of steam coming out now, you can see. And very, very hot. So I'm not going to wait now when it's still hot and steaming. I'm just going to leave it there to dry out and cool down. Yeah, you can see the steam coming off it. So 10:38. And it was 10:85, so it's lost about sort of like 50, I think 47. And remember, 970 is when they're totally dry.
We're down at 1038 grams, which, if you remember the weight when we started, is about sort of 45, 50 grams, we've evaporated away. Now at this stage I let it cool down. I was just curious on what it says in the instructions. I misplaced the instructions, but I showed you earlier on. It said microwave it on full power for 30 seconds. So I thought I'll let it cool off, and I'll just try that. So let's have a look what happens just with 30 seconds on full power.
So full power, and it's a bit hard to get exactly 30 seconds, but right, that's been 30 seconds now, and yeah, it's not enough. 30 seconds on full power. It's just vaguely warm. That's what it says in the instructions. And then take it out and let it cool off. So yeah, it's got that totally wrong. So
yeah, absolute garbage what it says in the instructions. 30 seconds on full power will do absolutely nothing. So yeah, go back to sort of like your defrost or a one up from defrost again. I thought I'll give it another 10 minutes, and I kept on going and I kept on going and I kept on going. And we got it, we're getting right down to the final weight. So let's see that, and then I'm going to giving it one more zap to show it definitely is fully dried out.
Okay, we're finally getting to near absolute sort of dryness now. Got this one down to 943, as you can see. And I'm going to pop it in the microwave. So remember, 943, and I'm just going to give it 4 minutes on defrost, and there shouldn't be much difference when we take it out. So let's see what that is when we take it out.
So after, probably about 40, adding everything up, 45 minutes of 8-minute, 6-minute sessions, we're right down now at 943 grams. Now that's the lowest it's ever been. It's lower than when they were brand new out of the bag, because obviously even sealed up and that, they can get a bit of moisture in transit. So that is the lowest I've possibly got, the 943, and I confirmed that by giving it one final, as you'll see here, 3 or 4 minute zap. See how many grams it takes out of it with another 4 minutes, which would normally, on a wettish bag, a heavily laden bag, it'd be about 50 grams it's taken out. Let's see how much it takes out when they're right down to pretty much dry.
Right, it's just coming up to 4 minutes now. So it's just pinged. So let's see how dry it was, because I'm expecting there was no more steam out of there. I'm expecting it to be pretty much 943 again. Just check it's not touching anything. Yeah, 941. So we're getting down now right to the very. So we'll call it bone dry at 940. So I'm going to do this little bag now, and then there's just one more little experiment I want to show you.
So yeah, that final session only got another 2 grams of moisture out of it. So yeah, call it finished at that. So in total, sort of like from heaviest weight 1083 to 940, it's about 140 grams. So that's 14%, something like that, of its capacity. So it's supposed to do a minimum of 20 to 40. So there's loads more left in it, even after holding it over that kettle. So I'm going to, as I mentioned earlier on, I'm going to leave it in the car for about a month, maybe more, all the time, both of them in the car, and see how much weight we can get in them without soaking them in a bucket of water. And I'll put it in the description if you're interested, with a date to see what the heaviest weight I got out of them was. Right, so we're almost. Congratulations if you got this far. I know it's been a bit intense, but I like to do all these experiments intensely to show you at each stage what it's doing. And like I said, this video is just on these sort of experiments. The actual use in the car with real life condensation is in part 2. If it's not already up, it's coming very, very soon. So behind me there on the floor, I've been doing an experiment. I thought I'll put it in just to say, got the bags dried out, and I'll put a bowl of water in there with a humidity measurer and see, after putting the bags in, how quickly it absorbs the moisture from that confined space. Now, as I said before, my 3D printer behind me here, that box on the top that holds the spools, it's very small, and there's loads of desiccant boxes, 3 in the front there and 2 at the back. So there's quite a lot of that orange indicator desiccant in there absorbing. And when I first did them boxes for it and I put them in, I was amazed. You could literally see it in real time coming down, the humidity. You know, probably like one every sort of like 15 seconds or so was actually coming down. So I thought I'll do the same experiment in there. As you'll see, not as quick, but we'll see that now, and I'll explain things as we're going. So let's have a look at that now. Right, so as you can see, we're at 69% humidity in there. Got a bowl of water in here. I'm going to put the pads in there and there, and we're going to time it. And first of all, we're going to time 10 minutes. So I'll set the stopwatch and we'll see. So what was it? I forgot what it was. 69% humidity. We'll time that and we'll check after 10 minutes. So that's the start of it, 69% humidity in there. So yeah, I'm not expecting it to come down as fast as that box because the box behind was already dry. As you see in this, I've got a bowl of water. It's been like that for nearly a day to try and stabilise that humidity in there. And it's in the shed, which is pretty much at a stable temperature. So it's as near as lab conditions as I can get, but it's not going to go down as fast as starting in an already dry box. But let's see how fast it does go down. I decided to try it after 10 minutes, half an hour, about an hour. As you see, it's a bit over an hour. And then I was going to try it just before I went out last night to the pub quiz after 2 or 3 hours. I actually forgot to film it. I did have a look, and it was still at the last setting that you'll see. I'll explain that shortly. So let's zip through all these tests one after the other. It's obvious what's going on when you see it. Okay, we're coming up for 10 minutes now, as you can see. 10 minutes. So let's just have a look what it's at. It was 69. We're down to 65 at the moment. So it's dropped it 4% already. Let's check it again in half an hour. We'll let that go up to half an hour, and then we'll check it again after 1 hour. So yeah, 64 we're up to now. Okay, as you can see, we're coming up to half an hour now, so we'll try it after half an hour. It had gone down, what was it, from 69 to 64 after 10 minutes. So a further 20 minutes. So it's 61%. So going down slowly. I was expecting faster after seeing it on my printer. But we'll try it again in an hour, so we're down to 61 now. Okay, got carried away. I'm still editing this video, so gone over the hour. We're on 1 hour, 7 minutes now, so I'll take that off. That's from the very start. We started at 69% humidity. It was 61 when we last checked after half an hour. Let's see what it is. Right, we're down at 57 now, so shows they're working. So I'm going out later tonight to a quiz. I'm going to wait till just before I lock the shed up and go out and give it one final reading. So we'll see how many minutes that'll be. Yeah, so like I say, I did forget to record it just before I went out, but I did have a look, and it was about 2 hours after that. I took the lid off, had a look. It was still at 57%. So it had got it down from 69 to 57 pretty quick, within like an hour and 7 minutes total. and then it seemed to like freeze at not freeze, but level off at 57, and it wasn't absorbing anymore. So I then had a look today, and let's have a look at what it is today. Right, it's actually the next day now. It's 2 in the afternoon the following day. So it's after about 24 hours. And I don't know whether you can see down there, it's still at 57. So yeah, 57, it's just holding it at 57, it's not getting any drier than that. So I'll just take these bags out now and see if that humidity goes up. So I thought I'd just do one very, very last test by taking the bags out of that box and seeing how quickly the humidity rises and what level it gets to. And I've literally just filmed this next snippet you're going to see about 10 minutes ago. It's 20 to 6 p.m. now. I took the bags out about 4 hours ago, I think, 2 o'clock, something like that maybe. And if you remember, we were down to 57% humidity. So let's see what that humidity has risen back up to without the bags right now. Okay, so the final, very final test. It is now 25 to 6. So I took that last reading that you've just seen about 4 hours ago. So I took the bags out 4 hours ago, and it was at 57% humidity. And let's see what it's like now without the bags. And as you can see, it's gone up to 75%. So yeah, 57, 67, 18% it's risen in humidity by taking them bags out. Same conditions, same temperature shed and everything. So yeah, that's reasonably impressive. So yeah, reasonably impressed at that. In just a few, 3 or 4 hours, it's risen back up 18% in humidity. So it just shows that they do the trick. Right, final conclusions. Yes, they work to a certain extent. The smaller the thing you're putting them in, cupboard, box, car or whatever, the better. They're going to absorb more, obviously, as shown in that box. The inside of a car is quite a big space, so you're definitely going to need at least 2 kilograms worth. That would be my recommendation. The more the merrier. If you can stick 10 kilograms there, surreptitiously placed around your car, great. Now, as you saw, these were the ones I got from Amazon. My plan originally on doing something like this, because I did have some years ago from Aldi, was to do some from Lidl's or Aldi, where I've been looking out for them all through the winter. And what do you know, I'd bought these, and about a week later, look what comes in stock in Lidl's. Ultimate Speed, that's Lidl's own sort of like car accessory brand. Some of the same. Now, I'm doing these in part 2. I'm going to mention these in part 2. It's not going to be as thorough in experiments and figures and things as that. It's going to show it in real life situation in the car. Now, these were, if you see these, I would recommend getting some. They haven't got the indicator thing on the front, but you don't really need that. You're best just doing it by weight. But these, as you saw, were £6.25 each kilogram. So the 2 kilograms cost me £12.50. These are only 500 gram bags. So, but there's 2 in a box, so that's a kilogram in a box, but it was only £3.99. So £6.25 for a kilogram, £3.99 for a kilogram. As always, great value from Lidl's. They are a slightly different material. They're like a clay type material. Again, I'll be going into that in part 2. So we're up to nearly an hour in this now. I can't squeeze any more in this. That's why I'm splitting it into 2 parts. So look out for part 2. If it's not on now, it will be on within a week of this one uploading, where I'll be comparing the 2 together, the Lidl's one and that, doing a couple of Lidl's tests. More importantly, showing these in the actual real world situation in my car and how much condensation it does or doesn't absorb on about 5 consecutive days, starting from dry, starting from condensation dump, various scenarios. And I'll also show how good they are at gripping to the dashboard, and if these rubber nodules are any good, or if it helps to have a separate non-slip pad underneath. All that coming up, the in-car use in part 2. So stay tuned for that. Hope you enjoyed watching this and it's been of some info for you. Yes, if you see some bargain price Desiccant bags, get some. They can't do any harm. They're not going to totally obliterate the worst condensation, but they certainly do help, as you'll see in the next video. So, like I say, thanks for getting this far through this one, part 1. If it has been of any use, please give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please click the little picture here of the shed. And if you click the bell icon below, you'll be informed of any new uploads, like part 2 of this, as soon as I upload them. So, once again, see you for the next one. Bye for now.